Now I want to bring in Republican Senator John Thune of South Dakota. And Senator, everyone is rightfully cheering all of the sanctions that we've leveled against Vladimir Putin. Many, though, wonder why we didn't do them sooner, right? Maybe it could have prevented the invasion. Be that as it may, why are we still dribbling them out? Apparently, President Biden's going to give some more tomorrow. Why don't we just hit them with everything we've got, in order to sort of stop the carnage?
That would be a logical response, Charles, and it's been really frustrating, obviously, to a lot of us that in most cases the Biden administration has kind of been drug kicking and screaming into the, a lot of these sanctions that have been imposed already, whether they're economic sanctions, whether it's providing, military lethal aid to the Ukrainians. And I think that in our view, and this is, I think, could be substantiated if you look at where we are now, if some of these things have been done as a deterrent prior to the invasion, we might have been able to deter some of this activity. But at least right now, we need to do everything we can, everything short of American troops, to help the Ukrainians prevail, because they want to fight for their freedom. And it's essential that we stop Putin. If this thing spreads, this could get real ugly real fast. And so we're at a critical moment, and the United States ought to be providing leadership.
Another thing everyone's sort of cheering is the actions that have been taken against the oligarchs. And in fact, I know there's a bill making the rounds. It's called Yachts for Ukraine Act, which will repurpose yachts that have been seized from these oligarchs and retrofit them in some way, provide humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. And the only thing I wonder about something like that, when we start seizing these assets from citizens of Russia, in part because mostly they're friends of Vladimir Putin, does that in any way go against our own ethos, our own emphasis on the rule of law?
Well, again, these are war crimes. I think the people around him, his cronies, the people, the oligarchs that he's turned into billionaires, are also in part responsible for what's happening. They're enabling this, and so I think it's a different set of rules. And I don't disagree that in our system we have the rule of law, and we apply that consistently. But generally, that's when we're not talking about war criminals. I think war criminals fit a different standard. And I think, again, when it comes to tightening the noose around Vladimir Putin, one of the ways you do it is by getting to the people who he has enriched and literally turned into billionaires.
There's lots of talks about Marshall Plans. I had to go Google the old Marshall Plan to relearn the whole thing. I mean, we all kind of know it, but we don't, right? Like anything else in history. So one of them is to rebuild Ukraine and expand their domestic energy. Apparently, there's another pitch, too, from J.P. Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon. He made it yesterday at the White House about us. How about repairing our energy grid, our ability to produce crude oil? I don't know all the details, but it sounds fantastic. Your thoughts on that?
I think we ought to be doing everything we can. The typical family in this country is going to pay $2,000 a year more for gasoline this year than they did last year. This is what's happening, and it's supply and demand. This can be fixed by unleashing the energy producers in this country, getting them off the bench, getting them back into the game. And there are many ways the administration, if they wanted to, could do that. So I couldn't agree more with this approach. We don't call it a Marshall Plan, call it whatever you want, but let's make America energy independent with an all-of-the-above energy strategy that produces that energy right here in America.
It's just so sad. I mean, we've been told over and over again, climate change comes first, even with the pain that you just described for the average American. Although there's some rumblings out there, maybe some more stimulus that would include some sort of gas cards to offset the price of gasoline. Would that be a way to go?
No, I think as you know, what we need is more supply, Charles. That stimulates demand. It's a gimmick that the Democrats have come up with. They're talking about stimulus checks, they're talking about gas cards, they're talking about cutting the federal gas tax, all these short-term solutions that don't address the fundamental problem. The fundamental problem is this administration has launched an attack on energy in America. And instead, we're trying to get it from Venezuela or Iran or until recently Russia, these unreliable regimes around the world where we've got these resources right here at home. All we have to do is go after it. So those are bad solutions, and they ought to be rejected. And the right answer is to produce American energy.
I agree. Senator Thune, thank you so much. Always appreciate you.
Thanks, Charles. Good to be with you.